morning, everybody. Welcome to USDA Rural Development's webinar on our single close construction loan for builders, real estate agents, and lenders doing business in Georgia, Florida, Alabama, the Carolinas, and Tennessee. We're excited to bring you a lot of great information about our construction loans, specifically our single close construction loan feature. My name is Ed Peace, and I'm a finance and loan analyst with USDA Rural Development's Washington, D.C. National Office on the Lender and Partner Activities branch, and I will serve as the moderator today. Before we get into the event, a few housekeeping items, and then we'll go over the agenda real briefly. Based on the number of participants today, all attendees who are not presenting will be muted. If you have a question during the presentation, you can type it in by clicking the Ask a Question button in the bottom right of your screen. There's about a 10-second delay from the time you enter your question until we see it, but we will try to get to your questions. More on the Q&As a little bit later. So we will do our best to answer questions submitted during the live event, but for questions that may require additional research before answering, we will hold off on providing answers to those questions until we've had the opportunity to look into them a bit more to ensure we provide you with the most accurate and detailed response. We will provide answers to those questions in a follow-up document after today's live event, so please make sure we have your email address. If you submitted a registration form prior to today's event, we have your email and we'll forward the follow-up Q&As to you. If you did not register to provide your email when logging into today's event, please email us your contact information after today's event or enter it into the Q&A chat when you ask your question, and so we can include you on the email list. We can also include today's slides when we email out the Q&As. So I know we get questions about that a lot. Okay, so if needed, closed captioning is available. Just hover your cursor over the toolbar at the bottom, and you'll see the CC icon at the bottom right of the bar. The event will be recorded for playback. To access the recording, just re-enter the live event from your calendar, and it should begin playback automatically. If not, it will be under the chat menu item to the left, which is in the left menu on your screen. Participants who registered should have received an email with today's presentations attached for your use. As a matter of fact, scratch that last comment because I don't think we were able to get those presentations out prior to today. So I apologize for that. And as always, the restrooms are down the hall and to the right. Okay, so with today's agenda, first we'll hear from USDA on why the single close construction feature even exists. Then we'll hear a brief overview of the USDA Rural Development Guaranteed Rural Housing Loan product in general. That will be followed by an overview of the single close construction loan feature. After that, we'll hear from a lender partner who is well versed and experienced in the single close loan feature. Then we'll wrap it up with the Q&As. Again, we may not get to all the questions today. If so, we will email all questions and their answers at a later time to all participants who registered and supplied an email address. Excuse me. And with that, I introduce my boss, David Corwin, for some opening comments, and then he will turn it over to our first presenter. David?
Yes, thank you, Ed. I don't want to hold everyone up from the main event, so I'm going to keep this pretty brief. I just wanted to thank everyone out there for joining us today and making the decision to invest your very precious time in learning more about this great tool to help grow your business. Right now, during a time when refis are starting to fade away and the housing stocks are drying up all over the country, especially for decent, affordable housing. And here's this zero down, single close construction program that provides a huge safety net for lenders and builders from the moment pen touches paper, meaning our loan note guarantee offered before a shovel goes in the ground. So today's program is going to start by covering the USDA single close product, the guidelines, the basic parameters, and then we've got a guest presenter lined up in First Signature Lending who's going to share their successful experience with the program and offer their further guidance in managing construction lending. So I hope everyone finds this presentation that provides all the key information you need to get everything started for you. So without further delay, I'll present to USDA Finance and Loan Analyst, Annette Joyer. Take it away, Annette.
Thank you, Dave. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. And you can see my screen, I presume.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you this morning, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day for this webinar regarding USDA's Construction to Perm Loan Program. I'll be giving an overview of the agency's regulations and requirements for the Construction to Perm Loan Program, including how the loans are structured and what the lender responsibilities are through the construction process. So first, just a little bit about me. I am a finance and loan analyst with USDA Rural Development. I've been with the agency for 27 years, working primarily in the single-family housing guaranteed loan program. For many, many years, I was the program coordinator in California, overseeing the program activity there. And now I am a member of Dave's team, the Lender and Partner Activities Branch, and we work directly with our lending partners throughout the United States to help provide support in promoting the single-family housing guaranteed loan program. So first, I'd like to go over some program highlights. The program highlights are the same for all loans, including the construction to perm loan, and there are definitely benefits, particularly for the home buyer, including 100% financing. It is a no down payment required loan. The loan amount can also include closing costs because the loan amount is based, the maximum loan amount is based on the appraised value. If the appraisal comes in higher than the purchase price, then that additional amount can be used for closing costs, and that applies to the construction to perm program also. There are no sales price or loan amount limits, and the program is not limited to just first-time home buyers. Then for our program mission, it's the same for all guaranteed loans. We are here to serve low and moderate income households in rural areas and to assist home buyers purchase a home that will adequately meet their needs and hopefully be their primary residence for many years to come. And then for lenders, our guarantee allows for loans to be made that may not otherwise have been made. So therefore, we're able to help even more home buyers in rural areas. For program eligibility, again, it's the same for all guaranteed loans.
Hey, Annette, somehow your mic got muted. Can you unmute?
There we go. I have no idea how that happened. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, I'll go back to program eligibility requirements, which are the same for all USDA guaranteed loans. The property must be located in an eligible rural area. The total household income must be within program limits, which is 115% of median. The applicant must be a U.S. citizen or a qualified alien, and the applicant must demonstrate the ability to meet monthly obligations and repay the loan. And with that, I will go into the specifics of the combination construction to perm loan program. So the construction to perm loan, also known as the single close loan, combines the features of a construction loan, which is the short-term interim financing necessary to build the dwelling, along with the a traditional takeout long-term residential mortgage. And our lenders can offer this program to their applicants when the lender has the necessary construction experience and the controls in place to monitor and disperse the construction costs. So one of the big highlights and benefits, particularly for lenders, of the construction to perm program is the fact that the agency issues its loan note guarantee when the construction loan is closed. So not only is the guarantee issued before construction is completed, it's issued before construction begins. So that really reduces the risk for the lender. The full loan amount is guaranteed. It's a 30-year fixed rate loan. After closing of the construction loan, the funds are dispersed to cover the cost of the land and the applicable closing costs. Now, keep in mind that construction should be completed within 12 months. So all of the permits should be obtained prior to the beginning of construction. So at loan closing, the lender is responsible for making sure that all of the closing documents are completed, any closing conditions have been met, and that the guarantee fee is collected. Also, the lender is responsible for any state-specific construction requirements, anything that could affect the validity of the first lien, or any state-specific requirements regarding disbursement of funds. And then the construction contract must also be obtained, that is between the applicant and the builder. So one of the keys to the success of the construction to perm loan is the appraised value. So it's very important that the appraiser be given all costs associated with the construction so that they can be included into the final market value. So that will be the land value, all costs associated with construction, any reserve funds, and the total will be the appraised value. So it's very important that the appraiser be given these costs up front before the appraisal is complete so that they can be included in the final value. So the lender will be responsible for the oversight and monitoring of the construction. The lender will also obtain the necessary documentation to confirm that construction has been completed, and then also make sure that a fixed price construction contract has been used. So for the oversight and monitoring, the lender can either self-certify that their own staff has 2 or more years of experience making and administering construction loans, or in lieu of that, the lender can use a construction loan management company that has 2 or more years of experience. It will be up to the lender to confirm that the construction management company is eligible. Also, the lender will confirm that the builder contractor is eligible. So the builder contractor must also have 2 or more years of construction building experience in single-family housing construction, have a state-issued construction or contractor's license, have a commercial general liability insurance of $500,000 minimum. Now, a proposed rule has just been published in the last week or so that will eliminate the requirement for the lender to complete a credit and background check of the builder. If the proposed rule is in the comment period right now. So once that becomes the final rule, then it will be the lender's responsibility just to ensure that the builder has the expertise and experience and ability to successfully complete the project. The credit check and the background check will no longer be required. This was proposed so to get more and align the construction of perm program more with other types of programs. Moving on. So eligible loan costs, they can include the land, either the acquisition or the payoff of the balance if the land was purchased separately. The hard costs, those costs included in the contract, as well as any costs paid to others for well and septic, driveways, landscaping, And then the soft costs, the inspections and fees and permits and lender fees. So for loan costs, they must be common and customary for similar transactions in your area. So one of those eligible loan costs is a contingency reserve. So a reserve can be used to cover eligible expenses associated with any unplanned problems with construction or any change orders. It's limited to 10% of the construction costs, and the funds must be deposited into a specific construction reserve account. Now, there's a couple of ways that these loans can be structured. The original method was the one included with the program when it was still just a pilot program available to a handful of states, and that is when the lender uses a warehouse line of credit. So in this case, the loan can be re-amortized to achieve full repayment for the remainder of the loan after the construction loan has been completed. Then, or construction loan is closed. Then the interest rate then at that point can be lowered with the use of a loan modification. So the lender would execute a loan amortization agreement and then provide a copy to the agency. The amortization must begin no later than the first of the month, 60 days from the final inspection. And then any excess funds from the reserve would be applied to a principal reduction. So in that, with that method, the warehouse line of credit, interest payments will need to be made during construction. So those payments can come either from an established reserve account, or they can come directly from the borrower. In that case, the lender must document that the borrower has the ability to make those payments. Then a newer method for structuring these loans is securitizing the loans after the loan closing, and that's the loan closing of the construction loan. So in this case, a reserve account would be established for the regular PITI payment made during the construction period. There'd be no need for a loan modification or a loan amortization because it's a fully amortized 30-year fixed rate loan right from the beginning. And then any excess funds would be applied to a principal reduction. So with this securitization, the loan can be sold immediately onto the secondary market. And I want to emphasize again that USDA issues its loan note guarantee after the closing of the construction loan. So that eliminates a lot of risk for the lender, and then the lender is also able to sell the loan on the secondary market at that point. So for construction draws, the draws and disbursements are managed and recorded by the lender. However, both the borrower and the lender are jointly responsible for the draws. The lender will retain documentation to confirm that the work has been completed as the draws are being dispersed. So when funds are dispersed, the lender is really telling USDA that the work has been done as specified. So it's important for the lender to manage and monitor those draws accordingly as the work is being completed. For any change orders or unplanned changes, change orders must be approved by the lender. The borrower will be responsible for any costs associated to the change orders that exceed available funds. And then any proposed changes should not affect the scope of the project or the appraised value. And then for any unplanned changes during construction, if a life event occurs for the borrower, such as a job loss or death, it remains the lender's responsibility to continue to work with the builder to make sure that the home is completed. There can be no cash back to the borrower. The lender must apply any excess funds to a principal reduction. However, the borrower can be reimbursed for any costs that they've paid directly during the construction process. And then funds that remain in the contingency reserve account can be used for an eligible loan purpose or can be applied to a principal reduction. Now, as far as documentation that the agency requires, one is a builder's warranty. That can be either in the form of a one-year builder's warranty that's acceptable to USDA, along with the 3 construction inspections and the certificate of occupancy, or a 10-year insured builder's warranty with the final inspection. For more information on construction inspections and what is acceptable documentation, please refer to Chapter 12 for more details on the topic. Also, certification of the plans and specifications is required. That can be evidenced a couple of different ways, either with certification from a qualified individual or organization. And USDA does have a form. It's an optional form, but it can be used for this purpose, 1924-25, the plan certification. Or the certificate of occupancy or building permit from the local jurisdiction. Some areas don't have a local jurisdiction, so that's when the certification from a qualified individual or organization would be acceptable. And then thermal certification, the thermal standards must meet or exceed the International Energy Conservation Code that's in effect at the time of construction. Typically, these are included in the plans and specs. So that was a very quick overview of the agency's requirements and regulations for the Construction to Perm loan program. I want to point out a few resources that we have available if you would like more information. First is our website, which is accessed from the Rural Development website. Then you would click on the Programs and Services link, and there'll be a drop-down menu, and you choose single-family housing. That will take you to a number of different pages specific to single-family housing programs. Also, the handbook, the 3555 technical handbook, which provides the guidance and requirements for the Construction to Perm program, as well as the program overall. For the Construction to Perm, you'll want to go to Chapter 12, Section 6, and that will provide the specifics. And then we also have some great training available on our LINC training and resource library. There are a number of training modules available, including one on the combination construction to perm loan, and they are in the form of either a webcast or a PDF of the slides with notes. So those would be accessed from the basic training tab. Also, under the Documents and Resources tab, that's a good spot to check for updates, handbook, highlights, forms, checklists. Also, you can access the 3555 handbook from that tab. And then if you have any questions, if you would just like to reach out to us after this webinar, please do so. We'd love to chat with you. Reach out to either Dave, Ed, or myself, and we'd be happy to discuss our Construction to Perm loan program and hopefully help you so that you can offer this to your home buyers. And with that, I say thank you so much for your time.